Before we begin, I would like to say that I got this idea from Moonkitti. She's a really funny YouTuber who did this with the Warrior series. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Hopefully you find this as funny as I did, but you know, my sense of humor is terrible. So yeah, alright, well, go to scene 1. Deku gets wrecked by this one boy named Bakugo because he was defending a kid from a bully. And he's like, haha, you have no powers. Deku runs away. Deku then proceeds to tell us that the first person with powers was a baby that was practically a light bulb. Yeah. Soon everyone started having powers and it was really neat. Suddenly some guy turned into his monster form and was like rampaging on the city like it was Godzilla or something, and Deku was like, whoa, that's whack. And then suddenly useless tree dude, oops, I'm on the wrong layer. Suddenly useless tree dude swings in like, that's illegal, you can't use your powers during business hours. Of course the dinosaur didn't care, so he was like, pew, pew. And then Tree Man went like, yeet. And then suddenly Mountain Lady showed up and like, oops, crunched him. Oops, I only. He like steps on his head and she's like, haha, this is my debut, you can call me Mount Lady. And yeah, Deku's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool! Yeah! Yeah! And then some old guy's like, hey, are you a fanboy? And he's like, yeah. And dinosaur gets taken away. And Mountain Lady's like, my work here is done, and leaves. Mr. Teachers tells everyone to take their future seriously, but of course nobody listened to him because he's just a silhouette person that I randomly grabbed off the internet. Bakugo goes, haha, you can't lump me in with those losers because I'm actually going to go to the best academy in the world. Deku sits in the back like, oh, that's where I want to go. Deku's like, you can't go there, you have no powers, you're a lame-o. And then he takes his resume thing and burns it, and Deku's sad. He's a sad boy. Then we quickly flash back to Deku as a small child who's watching videos of All Might. Well, we'll see later. Hee 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 hee. And then, oh my god. Nope, this one. And then they cut to a picture of the doctor's office where Deku gets told that he can't have powers because he has an extra joint in his toe. How unfortunate. He cries, and it makes Mom cry. Everyone's sad. Deku dramatically clenches his fists as he walks, and suddenly, Rar Man shows up and proceeds to try to launch him. And then All Might shows up and goes, pow! And then Mr. Monster flies off. Oops. He's like, are you okay, kid? And Deku's like, oh my gosh, it's All Might! I'm such a big fan! And he's like, can you sign in? And then he finds out that he already signed it because he's so cool. And he goes, he tries to fly away, and then he's like, no! He like grabs onto his toes and they fly off, and he's like, what the heck, child? They land on the roof, and All Might is still like, what the heck? But Deku's like, hey, even though I don't have a power, can I be like a super cool hero like you? No, and then he walks off a few steps. Deku's like, wait, but why can't I? He starts to monologue, and then suddenly, poof. All Might has become No Might, aka no eyebrows. Ha ha ha. Deku screams, ah! And he's like, no kid, it's just me. I got hit like a long time ago, and yeah, my powers are whack now. I have to be like this now. And he's like, I want to be powerful like you. And then he looks off. He's like, oh no, cause if you look off, you'll see Bakugo being eaten by Monster Man. Oh no, my one weakness, single length streets, goes Mountain Lady, which is why she can't help, so she runs away. Useless tree dude is useless, so he doesn't help. Monster Man is eating. I'm on the wrong layer again. Monster Man is eating Bakugo, and Bakugo is in pain. He's like, I don't want this. And Deku stands there like, oh no, All Might, do something. All Might's like, bro, have you seen me? I can't. And then, so he's like, you know what? If you're not, I'm gonna. And he starts like running towards him. And he's like, darn it, he's he's a better person than I am. So then he like goes All Might form, and he goes, oops, I'm on the wrong layer again. And oh my gosh, is it this one? No, that's not. I'm failing. Oh, this one. Okay. And he goes, and he goes, Bakugo's sitting there like, ow, that hurt. And he gets mad at Deku for saving him because he's edgy like that. And the weather cleared because All Might's punch was too powerful. And he's like, you know what, kid? Maybe you do what it has to take to be a superhero, because a superhero should risk his life no matter the cost. Yeah! And after he skedaddles, Bakugo's like, why'd you save me, you little punk? I could handle it. I can explode things. And Deku's like, that's mean, but okay. After Bakugo leaves, this one came back. He's like, you have what it takes to be a hero. I'll start training you. Deku's like, oh my gosh, yes. My dream come true. And then they leave. And that's the end of chapter 1. So he's like, oh my gosh, how do I do that? You can inherit my power. You just gotta train a bunch. You can become All Might if you want to accept my power. Deku's crying because he's like, oh my gosh. He's like, I'm gonna pass down my power to you. And he's like, how? He's like, how do I do it? How? And he's like, please calm down, child. You gotta train. Clean up the beach, says All Might. It'll help you become stronger. Okay, I guess. And so they start training to clean up the beach, and they have a talk, and All Might says something about the all-American dream. Oh wait, no. I passed the test American dream plan, even though this is Japan. Logic, am I right? I mean, he is kind of orange. Deku also gets called a blind fanboy. It's fun. By the way, they train for like 10 months, and it's an epic montage and involves like classes and stuff, but I'm running out of time. 10 months pass, and the first thing we see is Deku going, ah! The screaming is so intense and inspiring that he automatically becomes All Might and goes, wow, that's cool. And then suddenly Deku takes off his shirt to reveal that he has leveled up. That's been a wild 10 months. He also shows him a picture of him being a little weenie baby. Ha ha ha. He starts getting emotional because, oh my gosh, thank you for all the help, All Might. And he's like, you, sir, are ready. And then he gives him a piece of his hair. He's like, your hair? Eat it? He says, eat it. Consume. You'll become big and strong like me. Deku's like, I guess. Okay. And then he goes Monch, and then the chapter ends. On the first day exam, Bakugo immediately bullies Deku and then leaves. Deku, being the nice boy he is, he's like, hey, let's do our best. And then he proceeds to trip. But then Love Interest Chance shows up, and she's like, uses her power to make him like not fall, because her power is making his levitation stuff. Yeah. And he's like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. And he immediately falls in love. And then she walks up like, hey, have a nice day. And then they all gather in the auditorium. Oh my god. And for some reason they're sitting next to each other in the auditorium because and announcer guy shows up. He's like, yeah, we're gonna do this test. There's a bunch of robots and stuff in each of 4 different points. And he's like, mutter. And then he's like, shut up, I'm trying to learn. Because he's a smart, angry boy. And Deku's like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, and then we're gonna go to the test part. So the test begins, and you see him blowing up stuff, and he goes away. And he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. Why hasn't my power kicked in? Oh my gosh. And then he runs into a robot, and he's like, I'm scared. I'm going to die. And then suddenly, this guy who has a laser that comes out of an unfortunately low area, but thankfully it's just his gut. He like shoots out a laser, and the guy like goes, and he's like, thanks for the assist. And he's like, I'm so fabulous. And he walks off. So like, fabulously. I don't know why he's still here. And then he's like still walking. He's walking around some more, and she's about to get shot by the water gun because guns aren't allowed in school. and she's like, and she's like, oh no! And then suddenly Deku power activates, and he goes, and like literally every single bone in his body breaks as he's falling. But then she's like, no, don't do that. And she like gently lowers him to the ground, and he's broken. She's like, oh no, are you okay? And suddenly the test is over. So where did Microphone Man go? Microphone Man comes back. He's like, good job, everyone. I'm proud of you all. And then our favorite grandma shows up. And she's like, Hasbro candy for all. Oops, she's too big, but oh well. And then we call her Granny Smooch because she smooched him, and she smooches them all to like make their powers or like injuries go away, because that's her power. We're gonna shrink her real quick. She's like, mwah, and suddenly his powers or his body is no longer broken. So he stands up like, what just happened? A week passes, and they're all, and Deku and his mom are eating dinner, and she goes outside, and she's like, OMG, Deku, there's a letter for you! And he's like, whoa! So then he takes the letter, and he runs off to his room. Why is this? And he runs off to his room. He gets a hologram letter from All Might, and it's like, hey, you did terrible. And he's like, thanks, I know. And he's like, but you saved, oh my gosh, why is that happening? But you saved that girl's life, and that's rescue points, so you get a bunch of points. Yay, you can go into the school. And he's like, oh my gosh! And he like literally destroys the screen because my thing is unstable. And he's like so excited. He's like, can't hide it. And he's like, I knew you could do it. Pat, pat. They're all chilling in their class because suddenly they're all classroom mates because that's the plot. And they're like, whoa, I wonder where the teacher is. And then Love Interest Chan, she goes like, doo, 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 doo. Opens a closet door to reveal Mr. Teacher. He, for some reason, asleep next. He's like, what do you want? He's like all edgy and stuff. And then he makes them all go outside to do a bunch of tests. He also says whoever does the worst gets expelled. They do a bunch of tests, and Deku does the worst, because he's still controlling his power. Bakugo is like, this isn't fair, where did you suddenly get powers from? You have an extra joint in your pinky toe, you're not supposed to have powers. Deku's like, yeah, I'm just that cool now, I'm Ultra. And there's like one bit with a shot put, Love Interest Chan, she like threw at infinity, and suddenly he puts all of his power into his pinky. He breaks his pinky just so he can get a very far throw. And he's like, what the heck? You're supposed to fail. And he exposes that his power is that when he like makes eye contact with people, that he like makes their powers cancel out. So that's kind of neat, but like yeah. Anyway, Deku does the worst. And he's like, oh no, I'm gonna get expelled. But he's like, I was joking. You're actually not all gonna get expelled. Welcome to class. Ha ha ha. And that's basically the end. There's a little conversation with All Might and Aizawa, who is also known as teacher. And everything ends, and Deku's like, I get to be a hero! And yeah, thank you for watching my terrible video, and have a lovely day. This was a lot longer than I intended.